and the exposure is worth 10 billion. Please give me 1 billion. Until you're serious about that, forget this. Madam Kamia, they will not join you.
Madam Kamia and Madam Nakalema, and the others that come up now to look at lifestyle. Let's follow lifestyle, because when you tell you to declare your wealth, you under-declare. So now we are going to monitor you, we are going to follow you up, and we'll be able to nab you.
Follow you up using what? Ghosts? Robots? Or human beings? Please, Mr. Kirabo.
She's moving in cars of 500 and...
Do you know, Mr. Kirabo?
Rentals, hostels.
Do you know the cost of exposing these determined thieves? Do you know the cost? Do you know it could cost you your life? So you must make it worth my while. You know, Saddam Hussein, he reached a point where he was hiding in a hole in the ground. You know this. That's where they got him from. He was betrayed. There was $5 million on his head for that exposure. So until you're serious about making it worth the people's while, it's a waste of time. Business will continue as usual. I'm afraid, Madam Kamia.
Well, the fight against corruption, we still call upon Ugandans that please, it is now syndicate corruption, and these people need a chain to be able to execute their theft or thuggery to public goods and public resources. Let's join hands and fight corruption. At one day, it will catch up with you.
Join hands how? Join hands how?
Yes, we could not have
by smiling it away.
We could not have the monies to give, or we've not yet got into that law. But of
no.
course, also push for ratios.
When you recover that money, give me my cut. You will see if corruption will not go in one million year.
Over the weekend, last weekend, there's some friends of mine that came to visit me, and we had a discussion about corruption. And they told me in one country, if you report someone who is corrupt, asking for a bribe, and there is evidence to that, you're paid some amount of money.
It will go away in 1 year.
That's why there it is hard for you.
You know, corruption has levels, but and the corruption that affects, you see, for me,
we're talking about the big fish here.
For me, you see the big fish. For example, someone might steal the money meant to construct Karuma. You see, that project might affect the people from that side, but not a person from Chisoro. But I'm looking at a project where someone embezzles funds that construct Mulago, a national referral hospital, that this hospital can cater right from the person who is at the border points of this country. So the social impact in that regard. But even the level of corruption varies, and you find that the daily corruption, it's the one, Kirabo, you and I deal with on a daily basis. They have arrested you, given some small money, that kind of corruption at that level. Now, the other big fish, we are forgetting one aspect. Where is the judiciary in the entire equation? If someone reports, what happens there in the judiciary? You see, someone will say that, okay, by the way, they were given some small money in the last budget, the judiciary, for them to operate.
Yeah,
but, Kirabo, you have evidence that Kirabo has embezzled 1 trillion. But you say, I need more funds to investigate the embezzlement.
That's why I was telling you that on the legs, President Museveni
that is another form of
things.
That is another form of corruption itself.
That is very clear. You're talking about these commissions being instituted. After the break, when we return, we'll still discuss this. And of course, the International AIDS Day was celebrated just on the 1st of December. We'll return shortly. Keep it with us.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it.
It's super cool to be a mass superhero, to get the spread of the virus to 0. Did you know that just wearing a mask is not enough? Yes, correctly wearing a mask will protect you and others, but you still have to remember to wash your hands with clean running water and soap or using a sanitizer, socially distance, and avoid crowded areas. Wearing a mask helps protect you and others from spreading viruses. To get the spread of the virus to zero.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
This weekend on UBC.
Traditionally, when I go and I'm introduced by my lady to her parents, you guys consider it a marriage?
Yes, it's a marriage. It's a traditional marriage under the law. Customary, you pay the dowry and the parents have got to know you and told you our daughter is getting married. This is what we want for you to have as a wife.
And
so
then
if you
I
feel that, you're married. However, you must go an extra mile to have this marriage registered.
We have more women that have gone through that and they're at home and they've not taken the further step you're talking about.
Most of us as women, the moment you do the traditional marriage, we hope for the big do, for the big wedding. So we keep on waiting instead of first having your security and having this marriage registered so that if anything happened, if this man died tomorrow and probably you have properties, you have an estate, you're considered a wife, but the registrar general will ask you, what is the evidence of this marriage? And you have nothing to show.
This weekend on UBC.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Very interesting stories even when we go for a break. The issue of corruption in Uganda. But as we wind up this, Rachel Takali, this is a very interesting report that I came about when we talk about the fight against corruption. And this is the court releases a list of corrupt government officials. But very interesting here is that at least 100 people have been convicted for corruption and ordered to return more than 70 billion they stole from government and private companies in the last 10 years since the anti-corruption court was created. But very interesting that so far court has only been able, that is the Office of the Directorate of Public Prosecution, has so far managed to recover, that is 1 billion out of the 70 billion in the last 10 years. The people that have been,
I told you before.
people that have been convicted,
They were convicting 10 every year.
and they have been
Make
told,
100 in the 10 years.
and they have been told that, you know what, refund this amount of money. We're talking about 70 billion that should have been refunded.
And
But so far, 1 billion has been refunded.
And we want to know, do they even have their accomplices? You see, you will arrest me, a gatekeeper. But when there is someone, when the real corruption started from someone in the top office, so are these people paying for the atrocities of the others who are busy seated?
But we have the likes of the Ramaphosa, the late Bob Kasango, we have Godfrey Kazinda, we have a number of people that have been arrested by the same laws. Do you want us to believe that they have not been smart enough? Have they been sacrificial lamb if the laws we have are weak?
I said before, you cannot say what you don't do and you expect results. The resources that are directly applied to the fight against corruption are laughable. Whether they're human, whether they're material, whether they're financial, it is a big joke. The day Uganda departs from these jokes, at some point they were talking about peace jokes, these are corruption jokes. The day Uganda graduates to meaningfully addressing this evil, I said within 1 year, it will be no more. I said, these big thieves have cooks, they have cleaners, they have painters, they have bankers. They all know their trail of destruction. But you must make it worth their while, because these people are so vicious, they're so determined, they're so entrenched, so well connected. They will kill you if need be. So if a cleaner is going to give up this thug who took 500 billion without blinking, you must give him $1 billion of this money and see if the results and information don't overwhelm you. It is that simple. It is a simple thing. The willpower is not there.
Well, talk about the willpower, talk about the institutions. We still have to condemn corruption at all levels, and we hope that there will be more empowering of agencies, of people that are engaged in this fight, and a reward as well, like Rachel talked about.
Massive
it motivates.
Rewards. Not a reward,
it
massive.
Motivates someone
Kirabo,
to go ahead for. Okay, a massive one to motivate people in the fight against corruption. Well, this week, the 1st of December is also internationally celebrated as World AIDS Day. Looking at the statistics, while His Excellency was addressing, of course, a group of few people because of the COVID-19 situation we are going through, we have about 1.5 Ugandans that have HIV/AIDS, and about 1.3 of these know their status and their own treatment. The big challenge is still the youth are a problem. 2020, we had 5,200 babies born with HIV/AIDS. We had about 3,800 people contract HIV/AIDS in that year. And actually, in the very year, we lost about 2,200 people to HIV/AIDS. However, these are milestones because we've been ranked among the top 10 countries that are doing their best to reverse the scourge of HIV/AIDS. And of course, our president being at the top of it, right when the first case was discovered in Kasensero, that is landing site, how the world never wanted to speak about this. But this person comes out, tells the entire world we have a problem. Of course, also with the likes of the late Fide Bongo, Utaya, DJ Bero, that came out, said, yes, here we are. We are positive. It is HIV/AIDS. It's not witchcraft. It's not anything. This is something we must avoid. Ivan, the scourge of HIV/AIDS and how we seem to be having challenges with managing success.
We have about 35 million people infected with HIV worldwide. But when we localize it, I think Uganda has not done bad in terms of fighting the disease. If you look at the same statistics you've told us, about 896,000 people have their viral load suppressed, so meaning they cannot pass over the HIV to another person, either they have protected or unprotected sex. So to me, that is a positive thing. And now we need to work around the mechanisms that how do we increase that number to reduce the 1.5 we are looking at. So, but remember, you also have a category of people, about 220,000, that do not know their status. But that does not mean they are positive or negative. These are people who fear, let me be the way I am. We have that category of people. Then, of course, the other driving factors are the ones we need to address, because I think the sensitization has been more, and we have seen quite a number of influential ambassadors coming up in the public to tell people, you know, who represent as role models to quite a number of youth in this country. And to me, I think that is a plus. When you look at the PMTCT, prevention of mother-to-child transmission as well, from the statistics you've said, the number looks high.
Because the previous
but
state was 7,000.
Yes.
But this year we have 500.
It's a little bit reduced.
It's reduced.
And that as well shows you that in terms of health care to the mothers, it's really doing, a good thing that the country is doing. But of course, Kirabo, remember, with the ABC, you know, I think times have changed. You find that, to me, some, like abstaining, you find that it is a little bit unrealistic if you say it, because entirely if you say abstain, then it means all categories. Then being faithful, you realize that you cannot be faithful where you do not possess anyone, either by marriage or by introduction, or, you know. So at the end of the day, you have the C, but even other people have their own mindsets. And by the way, this is the thing we also need to talk about. There are people who complain we have allergies to these things because I don't want to use a condom. You tell them be faithful. They are not willing to be faithful. You ask them why. I mean, they don't have reasons when you tell them to abstain. So you see that the problem is really too much, but specifically on the mindset of the population. And this is what we really need to address as a country. But we have totally done good. And if you look at, for example, West Africa, the ones that have HIV type 2, because we are dealing with type 1, you find that the one of West Africa is not aggressive. It takes time to present itself in the body. So that's why a person who has HIV in West Africa might take a longer time to survive if they are not yet sure about their status, compared to someone in Uganda who is dealing with HIV type 1 that actually, develops so fast. So I think we need to sensitize more the public that we are on the right course, and to achieve the zero transmission rate by 2030, it is achievable if every Ugandan gets to know what their status is, and if they are found to be positive, they are willing to go on treatment, and the government should make sure that these services are available 24/7 to achieve that projection in this country.
Very interestingly, unfortunately, when we talk about HIV/AIDS, most of the treatment, most of the funding is coming from our partners. We really need to up our game as government in terms of financing this, because it may not be sustainable. Remember, there was a time when we had issues, I think it was during the homosexuality debate, where we saw some people pull out, and yet we weren't giving sufficient enough.
HIV is found so much into the gays, lesbians, and
Definitely. Rachel, but I want to bring you here, the age group now that is most affected. Can you imagine people from 17 up to around 25? The many, I was reading a report that is by, I think it was Tasso, Uganda, where they say that on average about 570 young girls a week contract HIV. Let's look at this age group. This is a generation, by the way, that must be protected, that has to live, that has to see many years come ahead. And it's more of lifestyle. How do we save? These are very young, energetic, that at time of discovering their bodies as well, and lifestyle is a problem. How do we ensure that if we have to reduce new infections, stop new infections, this target group, because the likes of 30, 40 above, maybe they have more thoughts before going into such acts?
I think the main challenge that is facing HIV/AIDS is fatigue. There's information fatigue. This thing has been around for upwards of 40 years. And a vaccine has proved to be elusive. So the people have had and had again. After a while, complacency sets in, and after a while, laxity. But also the fact that they have very effective medicines these days. It informs the behavior that we see now. Many people approach it just like you would diabetes or you would blood sugar. They say, well, it can be contained and I can live with it for the balance of my days. So that fear that was at the heart of the HIV/AIDS approach years ago has all but diminished. So these particular people who are being afflicted disproportionately were not there in the heat of the HIV scourge.
The 80s, the early 90s?
No, they did not see the people who were dismembered, the people who lost their hair, and the people who were really thin, and the people who really wasted away as everyone watched. So they have only seen this in movies and so on and so forth. They don't know anyone who has really been affected in this way. So for them,
are these ambassadors that talk about I've spent 30 years with HIV/AIDS,
it's
I
like
remarried, so I'm living positive.
It seems unreal. It's for them, so that is really the chief danger of HIV and AIDS. But lately they've been overtaken by concerns over COVID. COVID is at the front and center of everybody's imagination. Funding has been slashed. Testing is down. Complacency is up. Stigma has refused to go. Because HIV/AIDS is largely a sexually transmitted disease. Not exclusively, but largely. Many people still don't feel right about exposing their true status. They even fear to go to these health facilities. In our washrooms, I don't know, someone put condoms this way too, in the main building. And the box is largely intact. I don't know whether people...
They might be faithful. Or they are abstaining.
No, what I'm saying is that I think when people fear to be seen...
I thought they are going to empty it very soon.
Where?
There is where it was emptied just in a few seconds. The thing was done.
On the third floor of the admin
Rachel,
building.
let's stick to
what I was
our
trying to
discussion.
say.
Okay.
What I was trying to say is that this stigma is still with us.
Yes.
People fear to be associated.
Oh, I remember one time I was at a pharmacy and someone wanted to buy condoms. And I saw this guy walking in, walking out, waiting for people to reduce.
Waiting for someone to say, please buy this thing for me. So what I'm trying to say, that approach is still alive and well. I mean, this thing, by the way, I'm not joking. This restroom is a private space.
Yes.
But I think maybe 2 packs have been removed from this whole box. It's still intact up there. So stigma is still preventing people from testing. It's still preventing people from acknowledging where they really are. Coming to terms with the fact that this disease can be addressed if you consume the information and do what they tell you to do. So those are the chief troubles afflicting HIV/AIDS approach at this time. So the young people are being afflicted disproportionately because for them it's fiction almost. For them it's something of their grandparents' generation. And before they know it, they're consumed by this thing. But I must add also, Kirabo, that it is also young girls, teenagers, and young women who are also very, very much afflicted by this disease, because cultural heavies are also very much present among the females in this country. So women also tend to be tested only if they're pregnant, because it's a must. So in between, they fear that if they go to the health service, they'll ask them, well, why? Why did you do this for? So until the cultural perceptions are addressed, until the complacency is addressed, until the stigma is meaningfully addressed, we'll continue to have this situation.
Well, we'll continue to urge Ugandans, please go and get to know your status and to government more funding in the HIV sector, because Uganda needs about 28.5 trillion shillings to avert 140,000 new HIV infections by 2030. So funding, knowing your status, if you're positive, go on medication and please live a positive lifestyle. If you're negative, stay safe, continue to protect yourself against HIV/AIDS. We want to end new infections by 2030. It is about time also look at what is trending in the print media this morning, and I'll begin with the Daily Monitor. A very big headline there, regional backing us, that is on ADF strike. Government says, okay, the region is backing us. That is according to the Daily Monitor this morning. But also, we continue to look at the ADF and government of Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, what they are doing to ensure that they eliminate the ADF MPs, envelop with young women, abandon children. Yes, yesterday the Deputy Speaker made it very clear that she's having problems with young ladies who report to Parliament with the abandoned children of male members of Parliament who are not giving them the necessary... Rachel, no reason to laugh about this.
I have to laugh.
MPs, but the MPs said, well, it's not only with MPs, it's society.
Really?
Yeah, it happens.
So that makes them irresponsible.
Well, it happens.
Please style up.
Okay, we move on. Scoop the things that define Uganda men. What are they? The Daily Monitor has more. How midterm access will affect NSSF interest rate. And still in the Daily Monitor, the lizard, that is the cartoon there, says, oh, okay, we see government's list measures to stop spread of Omicron variant. And the lizard comes up here regarding the MPs' children. It says adjournment, children with mistresses. The lizard responds to that. MPs to take more responsibility. If you impregnate a young girl, please be responsible to look after the child, your leaders. Well, we now move to the New Vision this morning, and school fire finds spark fresh crisis. That is in. Okay, let me move to the New Vision. Actually, UN okays UPDF joint operations in Congo. That is a very big headline there. Uganda Democratic troops begin ground offensive against the ADF rebels. And then the IGG orders, that is the addiction of land bosses. And still the New Vision brings you Parliament flops over missing oil agreements. Harvesting money tips on profiting from poultry. And we go to lockdown and exams, where today the New Vision has brought you Senior 1 English and Literature plus Senior 3 Literature, then A-level Physics and Economics. Let me move to the Daily Nation. That is from our neighbors in Kenya. School fire finds spark fresh crisis. We also look at Father Sue's son asks court for 20% of his salary for upkeep. Still, we look at Kitoni to go for UK soldiers in murder probe. And Omicron, Kenya steps up COVID testing. That is in the various airports there and entry points as well. But also we see over 44 schools affected as some parents move to court in process. That is over what? Well, school fires. But remember, these and more you can get when you buy yourself a copy. Let me have your final shot, Rachel and Ivan, as you wind up this weekly review. Beginning with you, Rachel.
Well, I think going forward, this Omicron situation, I think will be at the center of our thinking for a while. But the scientists have told us that so far it's been mild in its expression. So we're hopeful that the vaccines, as we know them at this time, are able to cover certain ground. So we are hopeful that this will hold and remain that way. But also, more than anything else, while the IGG is grappling with this issue of corruption, it is true that it is a personal responsibility, it is a community responsibility. We should do our part to make sure that this is something that becomes a reality, a corruption-free society.
Ivan, just in less than a minute.
I can't live without talking about the offensiveness of the UPDF in the Democratic Republic of Congo attacking the ADF. I saw a cross-section of members of parliament trying to challenge the legality of our forces in DR Congo. And I wondered as to whether the person just technically decided not to read the entire clauses under the article he was quoting, but I then realized that the president was actually, by law, he can do that, but he has to report within 72 hours, and the MP came even before the 72 hours had expired. But the only challenge is that the law does not state what happens therein if the president doesn't come out within the 72 hours to inform parliament that he has sent soldiers in that regard. So I think that one, I leave it at that, but to me, I think this specific aspect and move, if it's really intended to protect the interests of the majority who might be affected by these operations or by the ADF, it is a good move by this country, Uganda.
Very interesting stories have dominated this week, and of course, the ADF now paying for the sins they have committed on several people, not only in Uganda, but also in Congo. We pray and hope we have a better week. More music up for you. Good morning.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by.
Their job is to keep you and me healthy and well. But sometimes they try in vain.
How to get points? Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Introducing the all-new
Roofing's TMX 500C rebars with cut and bend surfaces. Roofing's strength of a nation.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Because it is the Friday where we give you a lot of blends to the morning, and a lot of that more again comes in terms of weather and nature. This morning we want to start off with a story about the drought in Madagascar. Now this has been something that has been going on for close to 2 years now, and now scientists have come up with the research that is showing that this has not only been caused by human-induced climate change. So what they're looking at is the fact that there is a lot of variabilities, and mostly because Madagascar is really a poor kind of economy. So that means that even that poverty has contributed to how they are faring right now in terms of weather. Now also it's important to remember that this is the area that is so far having at least 90% focus in terms of humanitarian activity in that area. Especially southern Madagascar has been worst hit by famine, and that has been because of the low rains within the area that has continued for close to 2 years now. Now, this research has been made by scientists from South Africa, Madagascar, then there is the Netherlands, India, and the US, and they're looking specifically what patterns are leading to what is happening in Madagascar, especially seeing such a long crisis of drought. And it is to the record now. We haven't seen any country in Africa having this extended kind of drought, and I think it is also alarming that they continue to have similar conditions even up to now. Now, this has majorly contributed to the famine in the area, and also the research is showing that at least 90% of the people in Madagascar are living below the poverty line. So that it can only mean that this is only going to get higher and higher, because now you consider the fact that their agricultural activities are all rain-fed. And for now, they don't have any established rainy season whatsoever. The last time they were checking on the rains, starting from July 2019 up to now, there hasn't been to any level of rains that could even sustain even a simple vegetable, plantation. So it's kind of that bad in the area. And most of what they're doing even up to now is depend on foreign aid. Now we do have a lot of UN organizations that are in Madagascar trying to make sure that at least people have what to eat. But it can only be for a short time, because if we look at the fact that this is continuing, these kind of weather conditions are continuing over the area, it is going to be really difficult for Madagascar to cope up with all these climate variabilities. Now, scientists also are saying that majorly this has been naturally occurring. So that means that even with the rains reducing due to some of the human-induced, challenges, but at the same time, you look at the nature of Madagascar. Now, a lot of years also, they've looked at a variability where it has been going in that trend of low rainfall. So it has reached a time where they cannot have enough rain to sustain most of the activities. And it is worrying to see that even the agriculture sector right now is the most poor performing sector in the country. And they have been also depending on agriculture. So that is something that is really very, very alarming over the area. And now they are only asking for more and more of the aid to come through towards Madagascar. But even when we're looking at most of these climate change, effects, then we also look at the nature occurring effects that could also lead to the similar disasters like drought, for example. And also this month, the East Africa Climate Prediction Center, that is ICPAC, did come out to also warn about drought cases most likely to happen in some parts of East Africa. And at least they did mention that there's going to be reduced rains across northern Uganda, across the Karamoja region. These are areas where we've had drought cases before. So also this is most likely to happen into your country, but at least not to that extent. But mostly looking at eastern Somalia and also parts of southern Sudan, those areas are still in the forecast for likely of drought instances. That is for the period of December up to February. But we will be looking more into what is coming through from the East African Prediction Center whenever those updates come up. Well, this morning we want to take a look at what is going on over the country, and looking at our satellites for this morning, it looks like we did start off with quite some heavy rains that is across the midwestern parts of the country. That is where we have Masindi. That area did start off with cloudy, and those rainy conditions were setting in. Also close to that is that lower side of Lake Albert towards Fort Portal. That area also did start off with mostly cloudy conditions, and those could be developing into rains even later as the day progresses. Now we do have some areas across parts of also the Lake Victoria Basin. They did start off with cloudy conditions, but most of that will also be clearing, but mostly to the western parts of the country. Now we want to take a look at the forecast that we have for you for different areas across the country and see how the weather is going to look like for this Friday morning, where we do start off with the eastern part of Lake Victoria. That is where we have Tororo, Busia, Iganga and Jinja. We're looking at mostly light rains, and those will be starting off at a warm 27 degrees centigrade. Where we look at southwestern Uganda, that is where we have Ibanda, Bushenyi, Rubirizi. We are forecasting isolated showers, and those will also be starting off with a cool 24 degrees centigrade. It looks like that area might also continue with rains even later in the afternoon. Now we look at the western part of Lake Victoria, where we have Masaka, Kalisizo, Zimbabwe and Rakai. We are forecasting rains. We already have clouds that are developing over the area, and those will be bringing in rains this morning, but also over a few areas. We're looking at a maximum of 24 for this morning. Now the Elgon region, that is across Mbale, Bududa, Buko, Sironko, we're looking at sunny intervals. There will be just a mix of clouds and sunshine, but we'll see more rains in the afternoon. Those clouds will be developing into light showers. Now we're starting off with a cool 25, but we do expect temperatures to go up as the day continues. Where we look at the central part of Lake Victoria, that is where we have Kampala, we do have Mukono, Entebbe, Wakiso. We are forecasting those light rains. We already have clouds starting to develop, and we started off with some of those rains, but we do expect more across several places, also with a cool 25 degrees. Now look at central northern Uganda, where we do have Jumani, Gulu, Kitgum, Padel. We're looking at intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions, and also likely to start off with a warm 28 degrees centigrade. Where we look at the eastern part of central Uganda, where we have Ruwero, Woblenzi, Buduri, Nakaseke, we are forecasting light rains. That will be across only a few areas, but we do expect more rains in the afternoon across that area. So that is one area to look out for. If you're headed there, you might want to prepare for these rains. We are starting off with a warm 27 degrees centigrade. Now, eastern Uganda, that is where we have Soroti, we have Katakuya, Muria, and Kumi. We are forecasting those rains as well. Now that moves away from yesterday. We did start off with sunny conditions in the morning, but now we're seeing more of those rains coming through, and that could continue into the afternoon, starting off with a warm 29 degrees centigrade for that area. And also we could be looking at temperatures actually going up. That is across eastern Uganda. Now northern Uganda remains dry. We're seeing mostly sunny conditions, and also for the Karamoja region. So if you are also again headed to such areas, you might need to make sure that at least you have your light wares planned for that road trip. Well, that is it in terms of weather. We do have sports coming up, and the tallest man in the building is already here and planning on what to give us in the updates. Well, we do have something about Cristiano Ronaldo this morning, Ruben, and I think this is a milestone for him, and I know a lot of Manchester United fans will be, interested to know about this milestone. What do you have for us?
Well, actually, he made history, the first outfield player to score 800 goals, career goals. Many players have graced the game, but they have never hit such numbers. I think Ronaldo, if he retires today or any other day, history would actually have a lot about him.
Yeah.
So have you been?
Good. I've been good.
Okay. The weather is so today. I always want to see Buyukwe, where you say it's going to rain in Buyukwe, or it's not going to rain. But I rarely see that. I don't know why.
Buyukwe is actually in that category of Central Lake Victoria. So that whole area across Kampala, Wakiso, we have Mukono, then there is Buyukwe. That whole area that is surrounding Lake Victoria, even that's the same weather. Because like you see, sometimes you've seen cases where it rains in one place and then jumps just a few kilometers away, then it rains in the other area. So the weather forecast will not show specifically to that point and say, okay, this is what is happening in Buyukwe. But when we are mentioning that Central Lake Victoria Basin, we are taking in all those areas. We just mentioned a few here, but then that's the whole region that is surrounding Lake Victoria, and the weather is usually the same for those areas, although it can hit and miss for a few places.
Okay, then I've understood. I will never complain about that again.
You have complained about it for quite a while, but guess what? It is in that same category, and we make sure to mention it sometimes so that people over there can also know the kind of weather that is
okay, I just love your sense of fashion today. The sky blue, and what about the holes in the trousers? What is that? I come from the village, I don't know fashion of today.
First of all, thank you so much. This is just they call it damage, I think. Why do they call it damage? But I think I will have to I'll have to ask the fashion designers, but let me leave you to get us through sports. Otherwise, have a good morning to you and to our lovely viewers.
Okay, of course, with sports, good morning once again, the viewer. My name is Ruben Mp Machivirango, and I'll start with the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifiers. We have a game today at this evening between Uganda and South Africa. That game will be at St. Mary's Chitende, and of course, it's actually the third round of the first leg of the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifiers. Uganda and South Africa will face off today at St. Mary's Chitende as the African qualifiers to next year's FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup enter the third round. The two nations will be hoping for a positive start in the first leg before facing off in Johannesburg. That will be in a fortnight. With Uganda hosting the first leg, Coach Ayub Khalifa believes winning at home would be a big boost in their pursuit to progress to the next stage. But the ladies I watched play against the Ethiopian ladies, I don't think they have a chance against South Africa. You don't surrender a 2-0 lead and concede 3. But 10-man Ethiopia or 10-lady Ethiopia, not man, lady. Ethiopia they actually beat Uganda 3-2 in Nigeria. That was in the Sekafa Women's Championship. So how do we trust the girls to take on South Africa and get a result? Maybe the coach is confident, but the fans might not be confident about this. They said, and I quote, we want to win at home because that gives us advantage going into the return leg. The players have been prepared well, and we hope that they execute the plan made that was from the coach, that is Ayub Khalifa Chiyinji. Despite failing to win the Sekafa Women's Under-20 Championship last month, Chiyinji insists that that doesn't affect their plans for South Africa, but rather they picked lessons. He says, and I quote once again, we are disappointed that we we could win the title, but that is behind us now. We have tried to rectify the mistakes made, and that is a good factor to motivate us going into the encounter with South Africa. That was from the coach Ayub Khalifa Shinji. Away from the local football, let's cross over to Europe. Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 800th career goal. Now, they talk about Pele scoring. Is it Pele or Romario scoring 1,000 goals? Romario scored in Masaza and Vikaga tournaments, but Ronaldo has been here since he made his debut as a teenager for Sporting Lisbon. Of course, he was more established at Manchester United in 2003 when he made his debut against Bolton. Since then, he has never looked back. He's scoring goals for fun. That is a Cristiano Ronaldo. So we expect him to add a few more goals, but I know that the player is, and the way he loves scoring goals, Cristiano, he might have another 100 before he retires, so that will take his career to 900. So if he gets another 100, but that is if he goes to Qatar in the next 3 years. But if he continues with the top flight leagues, I doubt he can give you double digits in a season. But look at those who have scored many goals. Ronaldo is actually leading with 801 in total. Pele scored 765 goals. Messi has 755, and then Romario de Souza scored 753. Now, what's the notion of these people telling us that he scored 1,000 goals? Maybe even the village goals are counted, Felix. I think they are counted. The Uyukwe goals, actually, the Red Star goals. That is if he played in the Uyukwe. But that's, for me, that's a big achievement for Cristiano. 800 career goals. That's a lot for a player who has given us his all. And I really, if every footballer could give us such dedication and such returns, football will be fun to watch. Well, we were away from Ronaldo. Yesterday, Manchester beat Arsenal by 3-2. I was actually talking to Lukidi Edward Kijanangoma before the game yesterday, and I told him that the boys might play well, but they cannot win against United. I was very sure about that. Anyway, but they did beat Arsenal by 3-2. Goals from Bruno Fernandes, scoring his first goal in 15 games for Manchester United. There's been a long drought for him to get that goal. Then I also had Ronaldo scoring a brace in that game. The equalizer, actually the second goal and the penalty that won the game. He did win it for Manchester. But the news that broke through was after the game, Michael Carrick came out and told the press conference that he was leaving his role as a first team coach with immediate effect. So after that very game, Carrick did actually leave Manchester United, and that leaves a gap now. Social left after being sacked, then Carrick leaves as well. That is Manchester United. But the new caretaker coach was in the stands watching the game, so we expect new results, new tactics, and of course a new team that will come between now and the end of the season. Other games, West Ham will take on Chelsea tomorrow. Newcastle will take on Burnley. Southampton will take on Brighton. Then Wolves will take on Liverpool, and Watford will take on Man City. That will be at 8:30 tomorrow. Then we have other games that will take place besides the English Premier League, Edmond. There will be the La Liga games. Sevilla will take on Villarreal. Betis will take on Barcelona. That will be at the Camp Nou. Atletico Madrid will take on Mallorca. Then Sociedad will take on Real Madrid. That will be in the Spanish La Liga. Then the Serie A picked out 2 games. Roma will take on Inter, and Napoli will take on Atalanta. So those who go for the 3+ goals, the Napoli-Atalanta game might be even 5.5. That's 5+ goals. Anyway, in the Bundesliga, of course, Bayern will be in action against Dortmund. That's a big one tomorrow at 8:30. Then Cologne will be also in action. Augsburg against Bochum. Mainz will also be in action. Hoffenheim against Frankfurt. And then Bayer Leverkusen at the Bayer Arena will also be in action. So the 2 gentlemen here, who are actually the butt of the beards, I should say. Away from the sport, I need to look at the butt of the beards here in the studio before Priscilla comes in with the Christmas confida. So Felix, the beards, who was the bigger one, if you can tell me? You have the longer one, eh? So the Dubbies has been one, eh? The beard Dubby.
I'll share with you a video later on where one of the women in the Uganda was trying to explain the kind of expectation of men when they have beards.
Okay.
But
So,
I tell you, you will be surprised.
A woman next to you or
No, not this one.
But I love this man is shoe. How are you, gentlemen? Good to see you. How is the guitar?
Good to be here.
I love the shoe. Is it so who is the designer? Is it Jordan Forte?
This is Reebok.
Reebok, eh? What is Reebok?
I want to ask Ruben just something quickly before you leave.
Okay.
We had a very earlier conversation, and we had a question about how you spend your Christmas. I know you're a father, and you have your own family, but did you ever get to a point where it was hard for you to move on from being home and staying with family?
Okay, when I was growing up as a young man, we were told that Christmas is when drunkards move. So there will be a lot of accidents and mistakes on the road.
Yeah.
So we are confined to stay in one
At
area.
home, yeah.
So from the age of 543, but that's what I was told by the late Rebel. If that is how I can determine him or some talk about him. But of course, I can't move away from home on Christmas, maybe on the 27th. But between 24th, 25th, and 26th, I am home. Yes, because I avoid colliding with drunkards. No, the drunkards are many on the road. You can't move.
But also cowards live long.
Okay, I can't be a coward for just 3 days. Then I move out of the house after 3 days. But anyway, I've got to go, guys.
Sure.
I think I should go. How are you, lady?
I'm good.
I love
Don't
your
you
height.
love her hair?
I love the height. The hair, I don't know the fashion of the hair. I don't know the fashion, but the height is exceptional.
It is, yeah.
And the figure. If I wasn't married, maybe I would propose something.
Yeah,
But I've got to go. Have yourselves a lovely day. I will hand over to Felix and Priscilla, take you through up to the hour of 9. Good morning.
Priscilla is on the other side, and I guess
You know how that proposal comes right in front of Mr. Right. So, no, the man next to you is actually Mr. Right of the lady you're complimenting. Okay.
I didn't know that
Okay. All right. Picking up from the hour that we've just had with Robert Kirabo and Ivan, as well as Rachel, some respondents in that conversation. There are plans for the Honorable Ministers of Education, Health and Gender and Youth from East Africa and Southern Africa to be gathered in Durban, South Africa, and that will be in 3 days to reaffirm the East African and South African ministerial commitments on certain conversations such as sexuality education, as well as sexual and reproductive health rights services. And then we also do have another comment here that came in from a person who didn't leave us their name, neither can we trace it, but they say, thank you, panel. In comparison of corruption at Karuma affecting people from northern Uganda and not someone in Chisoro, and I quote, I took it to mean less impact, to corruption at Mulago National Referral Hospital having a bigger impact. And that was uncomfortable. Damages resulting from corruption should not be assessed like that. Otherwise, it will be okay in corruption in scenarios like Karuma above, and so not helping the very much needed fight against corruption. As you know, we do have the Anti-Corruption Day that is coming up on 9th of December 2021. And this conversation is going to be a continuing conversation here on Good Morning Uganda into the next week. We do have a couple other messages coming in. Please, now is the time to let us know where you're watching Special Friday from, and of course the music that you love. Our artist Bero Masi is yet to give us more muziki, but someone saying hi, greetings from West Nile, Pakwach district, and they did not leave their name, but we know how to find it. Ochen Aldo, thank you so much, Ochen Aldo. We also do have another message here. Wow. Very impressive. May the good Lord give her more wisdom in order to fulfill her dreams. Joseph from Mitiana. Okay, that is for Bero. May God give you all that you need to fulfill your dreams. Then there's another person here who says, I wish Bero should have a collab with my brother Jam Ganta, who's also a singer. I'm still Obix Obi. Today is my day. I will continue sending messages until you're off studio. Okay, I'll continue reading your messages until we're out of studio. Okay, now for Bero Masi and her husband, but Felix Nkunda and the Beard Derby.
Well, of course, thank you so much, Priscilla, and thank you, Ruben, and of course, earlier on we did have Robert and Takali, and try to give us our analysis and a look into the week with Kahwa as well. But of course, now it's time for the music, and we have Bero here.
We had something on the playlist. There was a song that we had earlier requested for, Somebody's Son. And then because it's a festive season, of course, we want to hear something that sounds like Christmas to get people into the cheerful mode. And also, of course, we had that question that we had asked earlier, what would be her 3 Christmas wishes this Christmas?
We could start with that before we get into the music.
One, I wish for never grow old, older than we already look right now. If I could land on the fountain. Right? 2, $1 million US. I'm not greedy, just a good start. Yeah. And just and 3, great relationships that last. Yeah.
I guess you're building castles in the air.
You know, it's not really castles in the air. Because there's people that are like 80. I saw this woman on TV sometime. She's like 90 something and she looks like me. But she just eats raw things, raw greens, raw meat.
Can you do that? Exactly. So that's why I say we are building castles in the air. But anyway, Priscilla talks about music, and what song we gonna have? Songs, 3 songs or more, but back to back. What are we gonna listen to?
Well, we're going to start with Priscilla's song.
Okay.
Somebody's son. She's supposed to be here.
She's
Queen
coming.
dancer.
She's coming. She's coming. I'm gonna bring her here with her. I don't know, whatever those things are. Probably also Molen will join in there. All right, and
one of my singles are released in 2020.
2020.
Sway and Never Letting Go.
So let me do the service of bringing Priscilla here as I go there, but please.
Somebody's son go find me one day. One day, I don't dare wait, don't stay too far away. Somebody's son go find me one day. One day, I don't dare wait, don't stay too far away. Oh, somebody's son go love me one day. Oh, one day, somebody's son gonna love me one day. Oh, one day. Hey. Sorry, I'm not sorry. I like already boy say. And should I try again? But now my heart is still there paying me. No Camille, ole coco. Shabi shani me Ronnie. Don't get me wrong. This won't be another heartbreak song. Yeah, somebody's son go find me one day. Yeah, one day. I don't dare wait, don't stay too far away. Somebody's son go love me one day. One day. I don't dare wait, don't stay too far away. Hey. Oh, somebody's son go love me one day. Oh, one day. Somebody, somebody, somebody sang love me one day. One day. Worried, I'm not worried. I know, look for embrace. Oh, we're gonna settle for whatever and live your life forever displaced. My heart has been through much, yeah. Oh, Camille, oh, le coco, Shabi Shani, me Ronnie, 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 Ronnie. Don't get me wrong, this won't be another heartbreak song. Oh, go love me one day, one day. I don't dare wait, don't stay too far away. Somebody's not gonna find you one day, hey, one day. I don't dare wait, don't stay too far away. Oh, yeah. Somebody, somebody, come on. Somebody sang love me one day, yeah, one day. Somebody, somebody, somebody sang love me one day, one day. Somebody, somebody, somebody sang love me one day. Yeah.
So this is Sway. It's a song that's constantly reminding me to sway. You know, life is happening constantly. None of us were ready for what happened in 2020, 2021. But here we are. Things happen, there's ups and downs, and just sway. The hard times don't last forever.
Everything is crazy now, I'm older now. And everyone is crazy now that I'm older.
You know?
And I've been feeling hazy now. Things been going lately round and round. Everything is crazy now that I'm older. Oh, see, life can take you up to the sky and drop you, yeah. And it can take you down on the ground and drown you. When you feel like your luck is down and you're mad and there's no way out, take a break, baby, close your eyes. And baby, just sway, sway, sway. Oh, baby, just sway, just sway, just sway. Baby, just sway. Oh, sway, sway, baby, just sway, just sway, just sway. See, worry won't solve your problems, no. Do what you gotta do, don't just talk about it. Keep on grinding, yeah, whining, yeah. Get on the floor, let's go. Keep on grinding and whining. Let's go. Life can bring you up to the sky and drop you. And it can take you down on the ground and drown you. Oh, baby, just sway, sway, sway. Oh, baby, just sway, sway, sway. Oh, baby, just sway, sway, sway. Just sway, just sway, just sway. Hey. When you feel like your luck is down and you're mad and there's no way out, take a break, baby, close your eyes. I want you to sway, I want you to sway, I want sway, sway. Oh, baby, just sway, 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 yeah, baby, just sway, sway, sway.
Oh, okay. amazing music. Is she the next Irene Tale? Oh, just in love with her voice. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello. Wow, good morning on UBC TV now. I have liked the program from Kamuli.
Okay, all right. Some people
Thank you.
Enjoying
Yeah.
this very massive music. How can people find you?
I'm on all social media. Okay, not all. That was a misrepresentation. Not on all. But on Facebook, it's Bero, and Bero is B-E-R-O Sings. Bero Sings on Instagram, Bero Sings on Facebook, and Bero Sings on Twitter. Same across the board.
And Bero is giving us the Christmas season mode with a Christmas song as we say goodbye to you and see you again next week.
Thank you. Oh, there's also YouTube. That's Bero Masi. Check it out.
All right.
Oh.
For the uni.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm and all is bright round yon virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace.
Merry.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.